You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 15th day of September, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast, that's our live training room. So that one is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us at the top of the hour, he'll walk you through step by step how to take the trial. There's no credit card required. And you get 5 consecutive trading days where we treat you just like you were a member. In other words, you don't just have access to the live training room. You have access to everything. We go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we work around the clock till Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. And so, now today's Monday, so if you were to take the trial today, we get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, but it'll run all the way through next Monday. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break, and then we come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which, unlike the morning broadcast, this one is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go here to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But all you have to remember is youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's really a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can actually see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it is a great resource to have at your fingertips. And again, it allows you to see exactly how we've evolved over all these years. youtube.com/CFRN. This is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. Michael will join us about 1 p.m. Eastern for a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Then we'll do a little live trading on the TradingView platform. First, we'll start where we always do with our daily devotional. Now, the topic we're on, resetting your mind, overhauling toxic thoughts. Today's scripture, 2 Corinthians 10:5. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Again, that's 2 Corinthians 10:5. Today we talk about capturing your thoughts. A quote from Priscilla Schur. Taking thoughts captive means controlling them instead of letting them control you. We were created in the image of God, and we are His masterpieces. What would our lives be like if we lived like we believed that truth? The biggest reason we don't is because we have let toxic thoughts run rampant in our minds. We can't let them dictate our lives. We must choose to capture our thoughts. Taking our thoughts captive will be one of the toughest battles we engage in. It's so much easier to just entertain the toxic thought. The effort comes when we engage in the battle. Even if we entertain the thought, we can still take it captive. It truly is better to do it late than never. When the Bible says to take our thoughts captive, that means we have the power to do something about it. As Christians, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives in us. With the Holy Spirit's help, we can manage our thoughts. Here's an example. Let's say there's someone in your life you need to forgive. Every day you remember what they did to you. You can't seem to let it go or heal from it. You might start to have thoughts like, I don't really need to forgive this person, or what they did to me is unforgivable. These are the toxic thoughts you must take captive. Recognize that it is causing you inner turmoil. Then choose truth from God's Word. You might even pray. God, I'm choosing to push this thought aside instead of entertaining it. I know you have forgiven me of so much in my life. Help me to extend the same forgiveness to this person. And then you do it again and again and again until it takes. You'll know healing is occurring when you look back on the situation and the sting of pain isn't as intense. You will see it as something that happened to you, past tense, not something that is happening to you, present tense. Why is it important that we stop those thoughts? Because they go against God's best and prevent us from living joy-filled lives. In order to spend our mental energy on things that build up instead of tear down, so they won't control our minds, which in turn control our actions. Every day is a new day. We get a new set of hours to live the lives that will bring glory to God and joy to our souls. We just have to recognize that and wake up with a newfound determination to be the boss of our thoughts, not the other way around. So reflect on this. What is a recurring toxic thought that you need to start taking captive today? Call it what it is, a lie. Find a verse that will blast that lie. When you think that thought, capture it and speak the verse aloud. Do this as often as you need to. Again and again and again until it takes. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, help us to tear down every lie and every proud thought that sets itself up against your truth. Teach us to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Fill our minds with what is holy. Guard our hearts from deception. And let our lives reflect the power of your word. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen and happy Monday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow is down just over 5 points. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is up 204 points, almost 1%. S&P 500 is up 32 points, and the Russell 2000 up 8.5. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 39 cents, trading 63.05 last. Gold up $32.50, trading 37.1880 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. Silver up 19 cents, trading 43.02 last. That's a gain of almost $2,500 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 395 points, almost 1%. The Shanghai dropped 10. The Hang Seng gained 58. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 6, the DAX up 50, the CAC up 71, and for the CAC, that's a gain of almost 1%. So, that gave us a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And at the moment, the Dow looks like it's ready to go into the green. It's unchanged. That's the official terminology. We got 3 of the major indices pretty solidly in the green. But the Dow, remember just a minute ago, it was down 5 points. Now it's basically where it was at the close on Friday. And we'll see how that changes as our broadcast continues. California lawmakers passed a landmark AI safety bill during the early hours of Saturday morning, sending the measure to Governor Gavin Newsom for his signature. The package, set to go into effect October 12th, pending Newsom's approval, is a pared-back version to a similar proposal he vetoed last year. Home to more than 30 of the world's top AI firms, regulations in the state often have nationwide reach. The bill's central feature requires companies with cutting-edge models with billions or trillions of parameters, known as frontier models, to develop and publish safety frameworks. Organizations including Meta, OpenAI, Alphabet, Anthropic, and others would be required to demonstrate compliance with those plans. And the legislation also creates whistleblower protections. Observers say the bill may have significant political ramifications. Its author, State Representative Scott Wiener, has filed a run for retiring Representative Nancy Pelosi's Democratic seat in California, while the term-limited Newsom is widely expected to explore a 2028 presidential bid. Oh my. Taxpayers going to be buying a whole lot of hair gel. Google has a parent company, as you know, Alphabet. And on Monday, became the 4th company. They had a market cap of $3 trillion. The stock move comes after the company avoided the worst of the potential consequences in its antitrust trial, with federal district court judge Amit Mehta ruling earlier this month that Google won't have to sell its Chrome browser. Google joins Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA in the $3 trillion space, although NVIDIA has since climbed to $4 trillion on the strength of its AI chips. Google is one of the key players in the AI race thanks to its Gemini models and chatbot. The company, like Microsoft and Amazon, also bakes its AI into its cloud business, making it a powerful option for customers entering the space or upgrading their existing enterprise cloud subscriptions. Citi analyst Ronald Josie wrote an investor note today that Google's antitrust trial results and cloud offerings will only help it continue to grow. And currently, Alphabet is up $9 on the session, almost 4%. And why is the market up today? Well, here's a good answer. Elon Musk responded to an unprecedented pay proposal from Tesla's board by buying about $1 billion worth of Tesla shares, sending the carmaker's stock soaring into positive territory for the year. The billionaire bought the shares indirectly through a revocable trust on September 12th. That would be Friday. According to a regulatory filing released today, the purchase coincided with Tesla chair Robin Denholm speaking with reporters about the merits of awarding Musk around $1 trillion worth of stock if the company achieves a series of ambitious market value and performance milestones. Tesla shares jumped 6.2% at the bell this morning in New York. The stock is now up about 4% on a year-to-date basis, having recovered from a 45% decline as of early April. Musk, 54 years old, last bought Tesla stock in the open market in February of 2020, according to Bloomberg. The CEO offloaded more than $20 billion of the company's shares in 2022, the year he acquired Twitter. The purchase amounts to a show of confidence in Tesla's projects after a challenging first half of the year in which vehicle sales slumped 13% worldwide. While Musk has talked up Tesla's pursuit of robo-taxis and humanoid robots, he's also cautioned that the company could be in for a few rough quarters after the U.S. phases out electric car purchase incentives at the end of the month. Let's face it, most Americans can't afford to buy an electric vehicle. China in the news again. China has ruled, this is from Bloomberg, China has ruled that NVIDIA Corp violated anti-monopoly laws with a high-profile 2020 deal, ratcheting up the pressure on Washington during sensitive trade negotiations. The U.S. chipmaker was found in violation of antitrust regulations after the acquisition of networking gear maker Mellanox Technologies. The State Administration for Market Regulation said after concluding a preliminary investigation, and NVIDIA's shares slipped about 1% in U.S. trading. The surprise announcement emerged with U.S. and Chinese officials heading into a second day of wide-ranging negotiations in Madrid over tariffs, which could shape the relationship between the world's two largest economies. Over the weekend, China also said it was launching an anti-dumping investigation targeting a type of semiconductor made by U.S. companies, including Texas Instruments. Its shares fell as much as 4.7%. The regulator didn't specify today what sort of remedies it would seek from NVIDIA, adding it will investigate the company further. NVIDIA didn't immediately respond to an email request for comment outside of regular office hours. President Trump has said he would be speaking with China's Xi Jinping on Friday after low-level negotiations between the two countries. Well, we'll see where that goes. Imagine, after all the theft of intellectual property over the years, China has the nerve. Unbelievable. Hey, this is the world we live in. Guess we better get used to it. Or pray that God intervenes. One of the two. I'm going to go with prayer. Google's up over 3.5% today. Apple's up over 1%. Apple's AirPods are among the company's most popular iPhone accessories, generating an estimated $14.1 billion in revenue in 2024. That's thanks to their ease of use. Setting them up is as easy as opening the case and tapping Connect on your iPhone. The company's newest Pro model, the AirPods Pro 3, which retails for $249, ups the ante on both the audio and health fronts, with improved sound and built-in heart rate tracking. The author of this article said, "I've been using the AirPods Pro 3 for the past few days, including on a cross-country flight, throughout the workday, and during various workouts, and I'm already sold on them. I've worn the AirPods Pro 2 for the better part of the last year, popping them in so often that walking to grab coffee or around the grocery store without them feels almost unnatural. And while I was satisfied with them, the Pro 3s are simply better in every way." Now, we talked last week about the new AirPods that are going to have translation capabilities. And I'm guessing it's not in this model, or the software is going to come out later that will make it work in that way. But to me, that's the most powerful thing. I mean, anybody can make an earbud. You can buy earbuds at the dollar store for $5. I know it's called the dollar store, but for $5 you can buy wireless earbuds. And you know what? They sound pretty doggone good. But the ability to go anywhere in the world, just travel the world, and just let your phone, or I'm sure your phone actually can sense whether you're in China or Germany, or Spain, or Florida. And you pop in the earbuds, and when this person starts speaking Mandarin, you hear it in English instantaneously. And when you respond in English, the other person, if they're wearing the buds, they hear it in perfect English. This literally has the power to change the world as we know it. Now, it was fascinating when the internet came along and suddenly you could have an instant message from your desk to a desk in Beijing in literally seconds. That was in fact a big deal. But the fact that you can communicate with someone face to face in their native language, or if you're making the phone call on your iPhone, I assume it will probably work that way as well. It's pretty amazing, pretty clever. I just might be willing to pick up a pair of those. I'll put it on my Amazon wish list. President Trump on Sunday made a final push to sway a U.S. appeals court to let him oust Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of mortgage fraud before this week's Fed vote on interest rates, again telling the court that she's failed to dispute the claims. Now, that's an important part of this. It's not like she's screaming, "I didn't do it, I didn't do it, it's all lies." She's like, "So what? Okay. So I fibbed a little bit." Well, All right, last, gold. Gold rose near a record high as traders geared up for an anticipated easing of the U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary policy this week and looked for clues on further rate cuts this year. Bullion traded near $36.60 an ounce after gaining for 4 consecutive weeks. Investors see a quarter-point cut this week following signs of labor market weakness. Swaps also price in at least another reduction before the end of the year, with a high probability of a third one. That expectation has driven Treasury yields to the lowest level in months and weakened the dollar, making bullion more appealing as a store of value that doesn't bear interest, while also cheaper for buyers in other currencies. Whether the Fed will challenge these bets is a key question for investors this week. So all eyes will be on the Fed. Okay, Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, and silver. We're currently in week 372, which is a little over 7 years. Over the last 372 weeks, we issued over 20,400 individual handcrafted alerts, closing in on 20,500. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, we rolled last week to the Z contract, but I had some issues going on, and so I erroneously sent out stuff for the U contract, and then I had to correct it, and blah, blah, blah. Originally, the logic alerts went out 5 minutes ahead of the open. Then I realized that I had failed to roll the indices to the Z contract. And now what's odd is the U contract early this morning still had more volume than the Z contract. Typically we wait, but I know it's going to happen at some point this week, so I just went ahead and rolled them. And so right now we've got about half the volume in the U and half in the Z, or that's how it was earlier this morning. So it is what it is. So I reissued both the CTAs and the logic alerts. And there were a grand total of 7 alerts last night. Now Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So at the time of the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 5. So that gave us 2 actionable alerts, and so far, nothing has stopped out for the week. Purpose of the logic alerts, yeah, you can trade them, but make sure if you're new to trading that you use them for the purpose intended, to learn how to read the chart. If your goal is to trade for a living, you gotta be able to read the chart. And that's the true purpose of the Logic 247 alerts for the last 7+ years. Now, 7 years, obviously, is a very long time. But years before there was a Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. And they are different in a number of ways. Number one, they typically come out 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open, like they did last night. until I realized that, uh-oh, I failed to roll the indices to the Z contract. So I had to reissue them. And that happened at about 6:34 last night, 34 minutes after the market opened. I had them out 5 minutes ahead of the open, the way I do, and then I had to reissue them for the Z contract. Redone with the Z contract for indices. So what this means is all of our traders, all of our trial members had all of these targets. Now, if it wasn't one of the indices, that's the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ, well, you had the other markets 5 minutes ahead of the open. But for the indices, it was 34 minutes after the open. It used to be a long time after the open, back in the day. And then I changed things, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, close to it. So, S&P, Dow, Russell, crude oil, NQ, gold, and silver. 6:34 p.m. Eastern. Remember, the Monday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Tuesday session will begin tonight. The Monday session will end at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday session will begin tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully I'll get them right the first time. Okay. Well, let's take a peek. Here we have another all-time historic high. We had a new all-time historic high and closing high Friday. Now today, we got another new high, 66.81 and a quarter. 66.81 and a quarter. Yeah, that's about as close as we're going to get it, I think. I could fidget with it forever, but looks like it wants to keep climbing. 66, what did I say, 81 and a quarter? Yep, so now we're at 66.80. Might as well give it some room to breathe because it looks like it wants to rally. $66.82.75. Okay, but we know that the actual new all-time historic high is 81 and a quarter. Okay. Now the new fib extension with the Z contract is up at 68.08 basically. That's the next major potential resistance overhead. You can't look left because once you've had an all-time historic high, well, if you look left, there's nothing to see. So the high of today, that's our first major resistance. And then beyond that, way up here. Now, of course, we have weekly trading zones in between and all that. The green line is called the VBC. It stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Lower prices, higher prices. Pretty simple. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. It stands for Bull Bear Cross. Now, the reason this is all spotty is because we just rolled into the new contract. Okay? So, Today's volume so far, we're almost to 1 million. So ESU contract we just rolled out of, that volume's at 888,000. So the Z contract has now exceeded the U contract on the ES. Earlier this morning, it still hadn't quite done it. Okay. So be on the Z contract here now for a few months. So we got rollover this week, and we got the Fed, and the market just keeps climbing. I'm telling you, the higher it climbs, the more dangerous it gets. The more it's going to hurt when this thing finally makes its drop. The shallowest possible Fibonacci retracement is the 24, which is currently at 6269/6270. Okay. Now, look at this number. Look at this number. Oh, they're going to tell you the world is coming to an end. It's all over. We knew Trump would destroy the economy. Blah, blah, blah. However, you're in luck because you know the truth. You know that the way price travels is in legs. Leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement. What we haven't had in a long time is a deep retracement. Not even a 24. To keep this bull healthy, we need a 38 or a 50. But again, it's going to, when it all comes tumbling down, it's going to feel very painful for investors. Now, traders who understand that markets drop faster than they rise will take advantage of it, and it'll be a good thing. So when it happens, and it will, and it very well may happen on Wednesday, when the Fed announcement comes out, we may get a spike. That spike could carry over into Thursday, but ultimately, look out below. Okay, all alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. Both the Logic 247 alerts and the Concierge Trade alerts. The vertical line here separates today Monday, back here's Friday, back here's Thursday. The horizontal line, that's the weekly trading zones. Now, the new weekly zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So any alert that goes out on Sunday night is based off last week's zones. But any alert that goes out after Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern is, of course, based on this week's zones. So all of our members get the new zones early enough Monday morning so they can get them on their charts before Wall Street even wakes up for the week. This was the open last night. We basically hugged the BBC until red and falling turned to blue and climbing. We got a leg, we got a retracement, we got a leg that took us all the way up to the long target, which was based off this high right here from Friday. We finally made it through it, but that may be the high of the day right there, because the step line has now crossed. See, on the way up, the black step line was on the left side of blue and climbing. Now it's on the right side. So what does that mean? It means that price is most likely going to retrace back to the BBC. Now, we know the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But we also know that eventually price will trade through the BBC. So we know where we're heading, most likely. This happens more often than it doesn't, by a lot. Big question comes is, do we find support here and catch a bounce? Or perhaps the top of the long target when price trades through a long target or a short target. On the retracement, the flip side of that target, often in this case, would become support. Initially, it was resistance, could become support. And that could give us another leg to the upside. I think for the most part, it's going to be pretty quiet till the Fed says whatever the Fed's going to say come Wednesday. Here's the open last night on the Dow. It's kind of rolled sideways, red and falling at below price. And when that happens, it becomes potential support, and it was. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. That took us up to the BBC. So we got a leg, a retracement. We spiked the BBC, but the pullback held. And then we got another retracement, and the pullback held. And it held. And even here, it held. Because this candle is, even though it spiked all the way down here, all the way down to these early lows, beginning of the session last night, still touching the BBC. This was the 9:30 Wall Street opening candle right here. So we put in a high here. See right here where black step line crossed back over to the left side of red and falling. Okay, that creates an important price, important area. And the market used that as resistance. Okay. So we get below the BBC. This time we have a candle that opens and closes below the BBC. So this pullback did not hold. Okay. But now we've ran back up. We're almost to the BBC. I got a feeling this pullback may hold, and then we'll get another leg to the downside. Okay. On the Russell, here's where we opened last night, rolling sideways. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing, got us above the BBC. Pullback held, pullback held, pullback held, even though it spiked. We hit the long target and we spiked it. Now that high right there is that high right there. See that? And then we spiked that high. Basically, we had a high right across here based off this high from Friday. Okay, that's market structure. Sent us back to the BBC. The pullback held. Now we're consolidating at the BBC. We've been sitting on top of it for almost an hour and a half. Okay, remember these are 30-minute candles. The NQ opened here last night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Dropped to the BBC. The pullback held. Price got above red and falling, turning it to blue and climbing, and we ran right up to the long target, which was based off of this high right here from Friday. Okay, so we hit it. Resistance always sends a market looking for support. So we look across, and this isn't exactly an area I would have looked for support. A little more here. Okay, but buyers came in early. Got us back above the BBC. We hit the long target a second time. Consolidated for an hour. And then took off. And here's where we are. Now, the NQ, it crossed, but look what's happened. It's turned back up. That's unusual market behavior. But for now, I would still anticipate a retracement back to the BBC. And again, then it becomes a question, does the pullback hold? We can see the pullback holds more often than it doesn't, again and again and again and again. But eventually, it will trade through. Crude oil. This is where we opened last night, right at last week's weekly trading zone at 63 bucks. And we dropped to the step line. When the step line gets directly below price, it becomes potential support. And up we go to the weekly zone, where we consolidate for quite a few hours. Remember, these are 30-minute candles. So we started this consolidation at about 21:30 last night, and we didn't really snap out of it until 9 o'clock this morning. We made a run up to the long target, spiked it a little bit. Now, that spike, as you can see right there where blue turned to red, yep, that's it. I was basing the long target on this high here. I typically put it up here. I just didn't know if the market was going to have enough gusto to get that far, and well, it did. Crude's had a rough go of late. Anyway, from resistance, the market looks for support, which it found at the BBC. But it bounced up into the step line and blue and climbing, and when those get directly above price, they become potential resistance. So price right now is kind of trapped. Support below at the BBC, resistance overhead at the step line and blue and climbing. We need to take out this high, and then we can make a run at this high and this high. Or you can see that this low right here is based off this bullish cross. When you have a bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line. It leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. And as you can see, it perfectly was. Okay, that created this support here as well. So we need to break below that. And then right here, where red turned to blue, you should definitely expect support in that area, which is in last week's zone 6235/6240. Okay, but remember, the new zones are already out, and you'll see the new zones on my charts during the afternoon broadcast tomorrow. Gold. We opened last night below the BBC with red and falling, and it took us right down to the short target. We traded through the short target and found support at the zone below, 3668/69. We got a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. And we traded all the way up to that long target, which is based off that right there. We spiked it, closed that candle right at the target. And we had a doji that was centered right at the target. Then this morning at 10:30, we took off. Gold put in a very strong rally. Now the step line has gotten directly above blue and climbing, but we're consolidating. Now, gold's already come all the way back to the step line and found support and caught a bounce. So watch to see if the step line crosses blue and climbing. If it does, then you should anticipate a retracement back to the BBC and or the top side of this long target. silver. Here's where we opened last night. Below the BBC. We dropped. We didn't quite make it down to the short target. Buyers came in. Gold has reached a new all-time high of 36.80. That's spot price, not futures. Just popped up on my screen. So this leg right here ran into this resistance right here, which sent us back below the BBC. Support here, consolidation. We drop all the way to the zone below. Whenever price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. And then we caught a rally all the way up to the long target, 43.05. We've now consolidated for about an hour and a half. And it looks like the step line is getting ready to cross blue and climbing. So don't be surprised if you see a retracement back to the BBC. If price trades through, just keep in mind you got a bullish cross right below it. So that represents potential support, and then you got potential support again right here, 42.60. There's where we are on the daily, slightly off the new all-time historic high. If we close anywhere up in this area, then we'll also have a new all-time historic closing high. And that's about as bullish as it gets. Michael's running just a couple minutes late, but he will be here in just a few. To become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Let Valerie know you want to become a member. She will send you all the information you need to become a member. And once you do, she'll send you all the information you need to begin your learning journey. Okay? Lots of information. I recommend that whatever email client you use, create a folder. And every email Valerie sends you, just put it in that folder. Because as you begin the learning journey, a lot of the stuff you won't understand, it won't make sense. Oh, I'm not going to need that. Yeah, you will. If she sends it to you, you will need it. So just put it in a spot where you know where it'll be when you do need it. Now, the initial email she sends you will explain exactly what it means to become a member or passport holder. Number one, you get 2 hours of live interactive training every trading day. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have a teacher. Hard to believe, right? They don't have anyone to teach them how to do the job. Imagine getting a job anywhere, doing anything, and the boss says, okay, you're on your own. Nobody to teach you, nobody to show you how the machinery works or even what your job description is, right? With trading, you know that your job description is you want to make some money, but you really do need somebody to teach you how. So we cover that 2 hours every trading day, along with 2 hours of group training every trading day. You have access to private one-on-one mentoring. All you have to do is just request it. As a passport holder, the strategy you learn, the indicators you own are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETFs. It doesn't matter because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just how markets work. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. The concierge trade alerts, the second they're published each evening. Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. And as a passport holder, every Thursday afternoon, you'll get an invitation to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And last but not least, you get the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram. Now, for those taking the trial, of course, we have public channels where you can get the alerts, chat with our traders, etc. But once you become an official member, you'll then have access to the private channels as well. Access to everything. Everything a trader needs. All under one roof. One low price. Now, Michael is still on his way, so we'll go ahead and hit our good word for today. Right now. Get on the bus. 1 Peter 2:20. If you suffer for doing good and you endure it. Are you in the school of hard knocks today? Are you wondering, why am I going through this? Because God is more interested in your character than your comfort. Patsy Claremont writes, Jason, our youngest, has two goals in life. One is to have fun, and the other is to rest. And he does both quite well. So I shouldn't have been surprised by what happened when I sent him to school one fall day. As Jason headed off for the bus, I busied myself preparing for a full day. The knock on the door was a surprise and disruptive to my morning rhythm, which is not something I have a lot of. I flew to the door, jerked it open, only to find myself looking at Jason. What are you doing here? I demanded. I've quit school, he announced. Quit school? I repeated in disbelief, at a decibel level too high for human ears. Swallowing once, I tried to remember some motherly psychology, but all that came to my mind was a stitch in time saves 9 and starve of fever, feed a cold. Somehow, that didn't seem to apply to a 6-year-old dropout. So I questioned, why have you quit school? Without hesitation, he proclaimed, it's too long, it's too hard, and it's too boring. Jason, I said, you've just described life. Go get on the bus. The Bible says, if you suffer for doing good and endure it, this is commendable before God. So when you find yourself in the school of hard knocks, rejoice. God is training you for bigger and better things. So get on the bus. And you can get on the bus with Michael because he's here now and he's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room and do a little live trading on the TradingView platform.
Yes. Here we go. Good afternoon. There.
All right, looks good.
Excellent. All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 15th day of September. Wow. Halfway through September already. 2025. Wow. Yeah, just remind me of something else. 15th day of September 2025. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for this trial. Just click on that purple button and it will bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down at the bottom, it gives you your TradingView login ID. If you don't have one, click on this right here. Okay, now I'm going to click on that anyway because I want to show you something there. On this page, to get the TradingView platform, just click on this. But for anybody that's watching right now, who already has the TradingView platform, it's rollover time. I created a chart book with the December DOMs already rolled over. So if you want this, go here to mytradingiq.com/trading platforms, download this, open it up, and take all the files that are in it and put it here in C, Sierra chart data. Right, I'll show you what that looks like. Go to C, Sierra chart data, and just paste the files into there. Copy all those files into there. You can move them, you can copy them, whatever. Just get them into there, okay? Once you get those files in there, then go to here. Hold on a second. Go to here. Let me find it. Here it is. Go to here. Okay, this is your Sierra chart. And go to File, Open Chart Book. Right? And when you go to open that chart book, it should find the TIQ-DEES chart right here. Just open that one up. Right? When you open that up, it'll have all the DOMs all set for you with everything that you want on it. Right? So you don't have to try to fiddle around, stumble around, I should say. Stumble around trying to get it all updated for yourself. Right? Thought I would do that on Friday. Because the stuff that I had out there was kind of outdated anyway. So I thought I would do that. Kill two birds with one stone. It's out there for you now. So go here to mytradingiq.com/trading platform. Just click on trading platforms. Download this, unzip it, put all those files in this folder. Okay, when you put them in that folder, you'll be able to see that chart book, the TIQ-DEC chart book. You just open that up and it'll have all the brackets and everything else that you want. All right? So gold's almost good to trade here. I know we skipped over what we've done so far in the day, but gold's almost good to trade here. Gold just had to trade right there. Okay, that's kind of why I wanted to show it to you. Anyway, let's get back here. I was going over this now. Today in the room, on the 15th day of September 2025, we made 85 ticks on the NQ. That was not the high of the day. The high of the day on the NQ was 110 ticks. Made 18 ticks on the YM. That was the high of the day. We made 41 ticks on gold. That was the high of the day. And we made 0 ticks on the ES. And that was also the high of the day. So the only thing we're off on was the NQ. We're up one stop, up 25 ticks more. Today it took 3 minutes and 1 trade to get to $2,400. That was a 12-point trade that happened on the NQ. It gave me some positive slippage, and we took a total of 23 trades. That's 2 days in a row, business days anyway, in a row that I got positive slippage on the NQ. The gold is starting to go right now. And above that, stop to break even. Okay. So we took a total of 23 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $8,560 with one contract, over 10 business days, averaging $856 per day. On the year now, we've hit $193,005. So we're 157 business days, averaging $1,229 per contract per 2-hour business day now. September, October, November, December. So October, November, December. That's okay. So on the year now, we've worked following the 2420 blueprint. I'm going to lock in some on the gold. I'm going to lock in 5 ticks on it. Oops, that's 6. On the year now, following the 2420 blueprint, we've worked 22 hours. And you would be up at 9 contracts. If you added 1 per month, you'd be up at 9 contracts right now. I'm out of the gold with 5 ticks. So adding 1 contract per month and quitting when you get the goal for the day. If you did it exactly like I did so far this year, you would have worked 22 hours and you'd be up $123,827, averaging $5,619 per contract. Okay, $5,619 per contract. All right. Let's get into the actual trades, I guess. All right, we'll start out. Let's just do the ES because we only had 1 trade on the ES. There it is right there. It was a break-even trade on the ES. During the break, which started right here, there was one nice trade right there on the ES. Nope, I'm sorry, that was not a valid trade. There was one trade right here on the ES that would have eventually stopped you up. And that was it on the ES. All right, so now we'll go to gold. On gold, we had 5 trades, and every trade was profitable. Okay, so we'll go to gold and go back to the beginning. I guess I didn't put it in over there. All right, so our first trade on gold was a plus 10. Second trade a plus 10. Third trade a plus 10. Fourth trade a plus 10. And fifth trade a plus 1. And that was what we got on gold. I can see gold has been running up here pretty wild. I didn't look to see, let me just look to see how far away from the high of the day we are on the ES. Okay, so the ES has dropped a little bit off the high of the day. Made a really nice run up here. There was nothing there, nothing there. This is during the break. I'm looking for trades during the break. That actually came out of the oversold right there, but it ended up not being any kind of a trade anyway. This right here, was that a trade? That was a trade. That was a trade right there that would have worked out. This was also a trade here that would have worked out. A trade there that would have worked out. So 3 of them in a row that would have worked out. That was not a trade. Then it flipped around. That didn't actually hit the midpoint. If it would have hit the midpoint, if it would have been square on the midpoint, I don't know, I may or may not have taken that trade. I don't know. But if he did, it worked out really well. If he did it on the pullback, which is what I more than likely would have done, got it on the retracement right there, then it would have worked out really well too. See, flipping around the other way, that was a good trade right there. That was a good trade right there. And that is a trade right now. And this is on the gold. All right, so we took 5 ticks on this one a few minutes ago, and it's giving you another one right here. Now it's all jammed up. You see the swing high is right here, so it's all jammed up in here. It doesn't really have a lot of room to go anywhere. Bigger picture stuff. It looks like it actually wants to go up some more. So this is a head, this is a shoulder, and this is a shoulder. I don't know. I'm going to move on to the next market though. All right, so we did the ES, we did gold. Now the YM, we were back and forth on the YM all morning until the very end. We got that nice trade at the end. We started out with a minus 15 right here. And we picked up 15, got us to 0. Then we picked up 1, got us to 1, and 2, it got us to 3. And then we stopped out to minus 12. Then we picked up 10 to get us to minus 2. And 5 to get us back to minus 3. And we stopped out again to minus 12. And then we picked up 10 to minus 2 again. And then 5 to minus 3 and to plus 3 again. And then finally, we picked up 15 here to get us up to 18. And that is where we ended it on the morning session. Now the YM was trading really nicely today. And I'm thinking about leaving the YM instead of the Russell for a little while. Okay, because it was just trading so well. During the break, it doesn't look like, well, that would have been, I don't know, you got to stretch it. Yeah, that would have been a trade right there during the break. That would have been a short right there. Would have been okay to take. This would have been a nice long right there, okay to take. The midpoint wasn't flat. This would have been an okay trade to take right there. And that was it on the YM. Right now the NQ. I guess we had more YM trades than we did NQ trades, but let's just take a look at the NQ. All right, I think our last trade, well, we had a break even on that one, but our last trade here was a stop out. All right, so this was our first trade on the NQ. Very first one, we picked up actually 48 ticks on that, 12 points, 48 ticks. And then we picked up another 18, no, 16 here to get us to 64. We went from 64 to 92, then 92 to 100, then 100 to 104, then 104 to 110, and then we stopped out. From 110 down to 85. Then we had one more. We had this break-even trade. Now I got it highlighted in yellow because I think I took that trade and I didn't mean to. Right, it wasn't a qualified trade because it didn't hit the midpoint, but I took that trade and I got out at break-even right away. All right, I don't see any questions out here, so I'm just going to keep going through all this stuff. We had right there was not a trade. Then you're in the red. Right here was not a trade. Then you're in the green again. Right there, I don't think that was off the midpoint. Nope, it wasn't. So that was not a trade. This was a trade right here. That was a trade that worked out okay. This was a trade right here that worked out okay. That was not a trade. That was not a trade. Then you flip it around, and that was not a trade. Flip it around again. This was a trade, just enough to get to break even, it looks like. That was not a trade. That is not a trade. Flip it around. That right there was a trade. It went enough to get to break even. Then you would have done nothing until all the way over here. That was not a trade. That's not a trade. And that's not a trade. All right. So that was it. So all the stuff that I said last week about this, we haven't gotten this move down from here down to here yet. From the top up here down to here, it's still going up. So what I said last week, when it gets up here at the top, I'm going to buy some puts, and I did. I still hold those puts. And if this doesn't happen, then this will happen on Wednesday. This will happen on Wednesday. So I may take out this whole section in the middle where I'd have to sell the puts and buy the calls, and then sell the calls and buy the puts, and just hold the puts that I bought on Friday or Thursday, whenever I bought them. Hold those puts until it gets down here, and then bail out of the puts. That's what it looks like. The puts expire on Thursday. So we'll see what happens with it all. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know. The XRP, for those of you guys who are watching who own any XRP, XRP's ETF was delayed until the 18th. I haven't looked out on YouTube, but I know nobody was saying that the last time I looked, but I found that information on my own. It was delayed till the 18th. And all right, so that's it for now. Okay, so what we need here on the NQ is an up close followed by a down close, and we'll have a short trade. The gold one over here, you can see that the midpoint was kind of twisting right in there. The actual trade was back here, right back here. Okay, this is the one that we took and we got 5 ticks on. So I'll just highlight that guy there. Took that one for 5 ticks. Now on the NQ, we need an up close, probably 2 up closes now, followed by a down close. Okay. All right, so on the gold, on the yes, on the NQ, I don't really have anything right now. Waiting. Where is my question box? I lost it. There it is. All right, there are no questions at this point. So we have 11 minutes left, and we have 1 trade so far, which was a gold trade. That was okay. And now we need to pull back there, we need to pull back there, we need to pull back there. We don't have anything, we don't have anything, we don't have anything, and we don't have anything yet. So if we go out here and peek at this one more time. Okay, so we're still very much a green day. We haven't been red at all today. We'll see how it works out at the end of the session, but very much a green day so far. And we'll see how it works out. And as I said, these guys right here, if they can stay above $3 until Thursday, that'd be a good thing. Thing is, nobody's saying anything about it, so it's not like buy the rumor, sell the news, because nobody's buying the rumor. All right. Well, we don't have anything. Let's change this to a Russell for a second and see how that did today. Now, you guys noticed we're on the Z contract, right? Everyone should have noticed that. Let's just take a look at this today. Did this work out any better than the YM? Starting out at 9:30. That would have been a short. That would have been a short. That would have been a long that stopped out. That would not have been a short. That would have been a short that eventually stopped out. That would have been a short that would have worked out. That would have been a short, almost stopping out, but it would have worked out eventually. So no, the Russell was not that much better. And the YM was back and forth, and Russell looks like it would have been too. Okay, so on the ES, we're looking for it to get up here and hit the midpoint and give a down close. Right? We don't have anything on the ES yet today. All right, so don't see any questions shooting in here. So nothing there. We've now hit the midpoint on the ES, so we need the down close on the ES. It's got a high right here of 69.75, so 67.75 is what we'll be selling on that. 67.75. That's also a trade there on the YM. Okay, I think the YM hit it, right? Yeah, the YM did. So that is a valid trade there on the YM. Here it is. That window on top. I gotta find my ES window. This one here is. Okay, so the ES triggered in. And YM's going to break even. I'm gonna lock in a little profit on the YM. The ES is triggered in, and on the YM, we're at 2 ticks in profit. We'll go 5 on that. And so far we've gotten 5 ticks on gold, 5 ticks on the YM, and we're waiting here on the ES to get to the point where we can bump to break even. 10 ticks on the YM. One more tick here and we can go to break even on the ES. Okay, we're out with 10 on the YM. And it's going to get that one more tick right there. We stop to break even. I'm just going to lock in one tick because that's our first tick on the ES today. Our second trade, but our first tick. All right, it should make it down here to 65.25. You see the numbers right down there. That's where it's trying to get down to. Lock in 2 ticks. All right, and we're out with 2 on that one. So far, we've had a long trade on gold for 5 ticks, a short trade on the YM for 10 ticks, and a short trade on the ES for 2 ticks. We could have something here on the NQ if we get an up close on this bar and a down close on the one right after. An up close followed by a down close. Okay. That's what we need. Up close followed by a down close. Close followed by a down close. Again, if you've not taken a free trial, let's go here to mytradingaq.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required, just fill out this form. And if you go to trading platforms to get your ID, if you don't already have an ID, and you go to trading platforms to get your ID, or even if you already have your ID and you need help upgrading to the next, or moving to the next contract with your DOMs in Sierra, just go and download this TIQ DEC right here. Download that. Put the files in that folder. And then open up the TIQ DEC chart book. Okay, open up that chart book and you'll have everything all preloaded for you. Okay. All right, well, we have a minute and a half left here, and I don't know that we're going to have another trade set up. So we will see here. All right, we didn't move into the overbought on that up close, so we're not going to have a trade here on the NQ yet. We're going to need an up close followed by a down close on that. I don't think we're going to get it. On the gold, we need a down close followed by an up close. On the YM, we need an up close followed by a down close. So those are the things that need to happen to trigger trades right now. Okay, there's down close, so the NQ is just all mixed up. That's not going to give us anything. And the gold is the closest thing we have right now. It's got a low here of 18.4, so we're buying 19.4 on that. There is, and so the gold did trigger in. I'm throwing a stop and break even on that. And I'm going to lock in a couple more ticks. Yeah, the gold should go up to 21.1. I just took down a couple more ticks. All right, so in the time that we've had here, we've had an assortment of trades, 2 on gold for a total of 7 ticks with 10 contracts at $700 with 1 at 70. 10 ticks on the YM with 10 contracts, it's $500 with 1, it's 50. And 2 over here, with 10 contracts, it's $250 with 1, it's 25. So we had 75 and 70 with 1 contract, $145 per contract in this session without any NQ trades, or $1,450 with 10 contracts. Where do I think the gold will go through the rest of the day? That's a fair question, Jim. To make that analysis, I would have to crunch it up like this. Remember I did this morning too? I crunched it up and I said, it might not have been gold that I did that on, but it was the same sort of thing. But this is a declining head and shoulder pattern, descending head and shoulder pattern. But see, that's your bottoms. It's breaking out through the tops. It looks like it's going to go up some more here. I would think it's going to find resistance right here at 722. And that's not far away from where we are right now. That could happen in a minute. The next level of resistance is going to be up here at 725. If it breaks through 725, it should fail here. What should happen is it should fail here and it should drop down below this level right here. But if it doesn't fail and it breaks it up above here, well, then that opens the door wide open for a huge move. Okay, if it doesn't fail here and move down, what it should do is move all the way down here. Okay, this is what it should do. It should go down to 3,700 probably. But if it doesn't, for some reason, if it goes up instead of down, which I kind of hope it does, because if that goes up, the indices are probably going to go down. I bought the puts, and I think it's going to go down. But anyway, if it fails here and it moves down here, then if it does fail here, this is where I think it's going to go down here to 3,700. But if it makes it up above here for the rest of the day, if it makes it up above here, it's 132. So we have, a few hours left. This is your leg length. It's a huge move to the upside. That's the leg length. So that would be from here. Right, that'd be a huge move to the upside. So it all depends on what happens right in here. If it breaks down and gets below this level right here, if it gets below right here, then 3,700. If it gets above right here, then 3,736. Okay, that's the part that we're kind of jammed up in here right now. I mean, the stuff that we do, you can make money in this part right here too. But the bigger picture stuff, the bigger picture stuff, that's what I think. Okay. And Dwayne, if you look at, Dwayne probably has weekly trading zones all over the place in there, and then support and resistance levels based upon fibs and all kinds of other things. But just basic price action analysis, that's what it looks like to me. All right. So with that, let me show you one more time. If you haven't taken a free trial, go here, click on the purple button, the credit card required, fill out the form, this form. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready.
Yep. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 3 minutes and one trade to get to $2,400 with 10 contracts on.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. We've made it through everything, including the good word for the day. So thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. 888-866-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.